No, not yet.
Okay.
All right, so everybody can see me in the camera, right? I'm orange and red. Everything around me is blue. If you take me out of the camera, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to change based on whatever's inside the screen. Okay, so what we're looking for here, this is set up to white hot, black cold. So what Mike's going to be searching for are those black and blue areas and kind of see where those temperatures are. If you see something blue that's moving, obviously we have something paranormal with us and we can actually test it with the other gadgets. Please don't get excited when we have one gadget going off. One thing does not prove anything. I usually wait for 2 or more. Something has to validate the other gadget. That's why I use so many of this. Exactly. So even though I'm an English guy, science is what I do. So you're literally going to hold this horizontal all night long. Give us a nice video to watch. Nice slow movements. Do you see the red square on the left-hand side of your screen?
Yeah.
So if that turns to a circle by accident, you need to hit it again so we can have 2 videos. It's already recording.
Gotcha.
So
Don't touch the button.
yes, do not touch the button.
I'm
I'm going to stick with the temperature thing just so that we can all kind of debunk things all at the same time.
Hey, girl.
We don't have any kids here.
I expected it to be a lot colder.
You know, it's now it's cold. So we know what these guys are, right?
What?
Yeah. Red dot takes temperature, right? It's only going to measure what the red dot touches. That's the problem. So the good thing is if Mike is standing where I am, he says, Nick, there's a blue spot on the wall. I think we have a cold spot. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test the wall all the way across with this red dot. If it's the same temperature, I now know that that blue dot is between Mike and the wall. Make sense? It's in the air. It's not the actual wall. So that's where this guy comes into play. This is a psychrometer. This is meant to measure humidity and temperature through the probe at the top. Somebody broke the cage. I had to electrical tape it. Sorry. I did not rig it to go off. It doesn't even make any noise. So the top number gives us humidity. The bottom gives us the actual temperature. This is not a very active tool. It's only to help validate or debunk what Mike sees through his camera. You're going to actually get both of these. I know. So you can actually pocket that one, the yellow one, if you got a pocket.
I'm wearing women. I'm wearing women's clothing.
Okay. Mike, do you have pockets?
That's the real reason we got married. It's because I carry things.
Pockets. That's awesome. Alright, so Jenny and Mike are all set up.
Come on.
Let's see. We want to record more stuff, right?
Nope.
Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several tonight. Because this is actually set up for 10 people, so that's why some of you are going to be double-fisted.
Good thing we weren't drinking.
I know, right? Or drinking anything. He's got the canteen out of his pocket. That's awesome. All right, so spirit boxes. Who does not know what these are?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect. All right, so a spirit box is basically a radio sweeper. It's going to flip through the FM radio stations very, very quickly, and we're going to be listening for disembodied voices, radio DJs, commercials, and/or sonic lyrics. So the way I have this set up is because y'all are amateurs. The ghost hunting TV shows usually set it up so they only hear disembodied voices. But I'm a person, and you're going to notice that every piece I hand out is electronic, and it's not a manual. It's not dowsing rods, Ouija boards, or tarot cards. These are all electronic items, so you're going to be able to. The spirit world can manipulate whatever they want to. Think of this as Bumblebee from Transformers. Do you guys remember that movie where Bumblebee talked through the radio?
Mm-hmm.
Same principle. If you hear something that you can actually make out, then that's what we were meant to hear. Now, the good thing about this guy is that it's going to record the entire session for us. You're going to get this entire recording back. It's not going to record any of us. It only records the radio sweeps, even when it's on mute. That's the super rad thing about this.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Those are some crazy sneezes.
It's my entire life.
And you have a mask on. Why'd you cover it?
Because it's my entire life.
Normally it's like 20 in a row sometimes.
It's only 3.
So I'm going to set this up.
Well, that was going to be like a Yanny Laurel thing.
Record. So, ladies, there's only one button you need to know. There's a little turnstile at the very top up here. Turns it up, and it turns down. So you guys are going to get the gist. I'm going to wait a few seconds and see if I actually hear anything, so you guys can actually know what to listen to. There's something there, I just couldn't make it out. But at any rate, if you do hear anything, and it's already recording, so there's a little SD on that screen, so That just means that it's recording. All you need to worry about is that little turnstile. So when I say spirit box is up, you'll go ahead and turn it up. And then, obviously, when I'm talking and telling a story, you'll turn it down. I say, let's knock those spirit boxes out. So, alright, so there's one spirit box. Well,
You should remember my name.
you should. So Nikki over here is going to be handling a very responsible tool. Actually, two of them. So let me get this set up. So, there's a lot of things that happen in the paranormal world that we don't see. That's why we can't verify it all the time, right? So this is the neuralizer from Men in Black, and none of you guys are going to remember anything. It's really a grid pen. So, what does this guy do? It actually shoots lasers. So if you can see on my hand.
Yep, so if anything
everything
breaks in that field.
Right. It's going to blip right through. It's going to be out of the peripheral, out of your eye, and you can be looking at me, and I can still flash you. It's far past this, so you can actually have a little darkness. It's meant to be set up in a room with a camera. Very, very still. So when you're holding these, it's literally straight down, and it will go about 5 feet out in front of you. That's as far as you're going to go. This one actually shoots red boxes. Why do we use this one? Is because if we capture anything with this guy and it lands here and I have a picture of it, I can put it in 3D software, and then we have a full 3D model of the apparition that we caught.
Cool.
Now, I haven't caught anything with this one yet. It's relatively new, so it's up to you. You gotta find something. Now, I will tell you, when things went malevolent on us, I actually, for the first time, myself, saw something out of here. For the first time, and I'm not kidding. The person actually had it straight out because we were in a corner, and something literally right here just kind of went, whoop, okay, and then whisked away, like gone. So, again, things do happen with these. So this one you have to actually hold on, and this one actually just has a nice little toggle switch. You don't have to hold it on.
Okay.
So I will also tell you, with lasers, they shoot super, super far, and they will get Nick super, super arrested. So we want to make sure that no cars, no buildings. I will say when it's safe to use lasers, especially even with the one that you have. The one little red dot that the cat chases.
Yeah. Lasers, eyeballs don't do well.
Right. And or police cars.
Yeah, especially right now.
Alright. So I'm going to separate this spirit box from this group that is going to go to you, so that way you guys can actually help me. Because we're not always going to have time for your lasers. Or places that we can actually use it. As soon as I can see the buttons to actually start the sweep on this. There we go. There we go. Alright, so there's literally only one button on this guy. It's on the back of the speaker, dead center.
Sounds like there's like a swing over there.
The speaker has been acting weird on me lately. There it is. Okay. We want to slow that down just a little bit. There's yours. You cannot control the volume. So there'll be certain places where I say, you need to stay out of that corner because it's super loud and we don't want to disturb any horses. So sorry about the delay. Literally, one button in the center turns it on and off. It's already sweeping. You don't need to hit anything on the front. It's just the back of that speaker, and it does swivel so you can keep moving it around. Alright, what else do I have in here? You're like Santa Claus, right?
And for my next trick.
EMF detectors. So, see all these on the ghost hunting shows, but they never explain what the hell it actually does. This is our first indication something is actually happening. There are 3 types of electromagnetic fields. The first one comes from the Earth. That's why it's green. It's natural. It just automatically touches it, and that's why it's on. The next one would be anything from anything electronic or wires, man-made objects. So it's going to make it go into a pulse. We don't want that either. Even if it goes up to orange and it just kind of stays there, even if it's just flickering a little bit, it's just staying there. It's something man-made. We can explain that one. What we really want is something erratic. We want it to go nuts. If it doesn't have any pattern at all to it, then you need to look around and debunk and say, is there anything around me that's going to make this thing go off? There are certain places where I'll debunk it ahead of time for you. I get interrupted once a night, at least. The parking meters will make this thing go off. Why? Because the electrical lines are underneath our sidewalks. So when we're walking on East Bay, you're not going to get excited about it. However, you're going to be the first person to say, hey everybody, there's something going on here. So that one goes to you. I honestly don't want to do pictures right now, if that's okay with y'all. If y'all want to take your own pictures, that's fine. But I think everybody's got enough gadgets, and you guys need to both listen on yours, and you need to watch yours. So what kind of stuff are you going to actually get back? You're going to get the full thermal imaging video. You're going to get the full audio. We're not going to do pictures tonight. Sorry, I had a weird thing with that malevolent whatever the other night. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to do pictures right now.
Did you get a picture of it?
I had weird stuff happening with the pictures, and my wife does all of the debunking for me because she is a photography and graphic design major. So she designs everything from Stories in a Cemetery. She does all that stuff for me. So when I handed it over to her, it's kind of like, this thing was really weird. I even got my daughter involved. She's like, I don't know, this thing looks weird. I finally debunked it. It was a sign nearby reflecting the red light. And it was kind of like, all right, I really don't want to, because it was that weird corner, and I just didn't want any more vibes from it. So if you see me go off into that corner, I'm only testing things just to see what's happening. I did bring some extra blessed stones with me tonight, just so you guys know. That one kind of weirded me out. So I'm going to use a couple of extra things on my phone. So in case our EMF actually drains batteries, which it does happen quite often, and the battery drainer I just ordered the other day should be here Thursday for the tour. It'll be really cool. I can't wait to see what that actually does. But I do use a couple of things on my phone because I have to be involved as well. So the first thing we're going to use is a spirit box that actually gives me digital words right here in the center. So it's going to give me a word when we get one in the middle, but it'll save it as a list. So the cool thing is, you guys are going to get this list back. The last tour actually had 87 terms. We're going to get rid of it because they already have those. Now, 80% of this is bullshit. Doesn't mean a thing. It's meant to be a game or a hoax. It's the other 20% that is relative to something happening with you guys, the tour itself, or the location or the story that I just told you. It happens every single night. I have yet to have a tour that did not have evidence that came out of this guy. Even one term. I do use one more type of spirit box, and it's only so you guys can realize what this stuff is. This is more of a teach and train. You guys kind of grasping onto that? Alright, cool. So, it's a reverse spirit box. So what does a reverse spirit box do? It takes the FM signals that you guys are listening to and it flips them backwards. So that way, if I get an answer in forward motion to a question that I've asked, we know it was legit. And what's nice is I carry the audio on me, on my chest, so that way when I'm using it away from you guys hear both the question and answer. And I will say, I'll say what I heard, and then I'll say rewind by 5 seconds. That's your cue to verify what I just heard. So let me turn this up so you guys get a gist of what it sounds like, and you know what you're listening for. It's pretty all over the place. All night long, and I can use them at the same time, which is super cool. So whenever a word comes up, and I will leave this screen open at all times, and you guys can feel free to interrupt me if something comes up and I just miss it because I'm telling a story. So, questions, comments, there's going to be a lot of questions on the first location. We're going to pick at least 4 tonight based on the amount of activity we get. So the first place we go to is actually a good practice spot for you guys because it is haunted as shit. And I don't have a whole lot of history behind it. So it's kind of me bouncing around with you guys individually and giving you the gist of what we're looking for and or what's actually going on. And we can put all the clues together to see who we're talking to. Okay? So we actually start here for a reason. This place is called, well, it used to be called King Rum Bar, but before that it was called Big John's. Big John was a football player from the 1947 Giants. His name was John Kennedy. Not John Candy, John Kennedy, extra syllable. A lot of people, because I talk so fast, they say, oh, John Candy played football. No, he didn't play football. But anyway, it was named after him. He's from here, and he is buried here somewhere. I don't think that the location's ever been disclosed, but he used to sit in the back of the bar and nod off to the bartender if the people were of age or not. Actually, I shouldn't say people. They were the cadets from the Citadel would come over for a drink after training. If they weren't of age, he'd say, nah, cut them off. Well, that happened one night with 2 guys, and they got pissed off and left. Well, the next night they come back, they steal a cash register from the front of the bar. Big John pulls out his .45, shoots one, takes him out. The bullet hole, because it ricocheted off the guy, is actually still in front of the building. Sorry, just blew my eye. So anyway, it is said that anybody that sits in the front of the bar at times will start to feel headache, disoriented, lazy, anything paranormal activity lacks. The only place I've ever found any paranormal activity in the place has been inside that window on occasion. So that proves to me that it's not man-made electricians or anything like that. Who knows? So that should stir some things up for what's going on with our gadgets, the spirit box that you guys have, and or our next location, because we'll still be relatively close. So I bring that up because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you. I told you guys that things attach themselves to me and I end up taking them home. This has happened twice in the past month. My wife is not very pleased. So we just kind of take that for what it's worth. It does take its toll. If anybody in your party's not feeling well, you need to speak up for them. Because that person's going to say, no, let's go on. I've had witches pass out. I've had people just drop and say, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. You guys got to tell me what's happening. If you're getting a headache, if you're not feeling well, we will move on or get you to a place that's safe. I am CPR trained, but I don't want to use it. So, is that fair to everybody? We don't want people on the newlywed honeymoon to be dropping on us. So, sorry, I'm going to be picking on you guys all night. The other big thing that actually happened here, and you guys should know that there was an earthquake in 1886. It was a 7-point something on the Richter scale, and a piece of the mantling fell from this building in the front, killed somebody, and apparently that was the first death from the earthquake. Paul, his owner, people ghosts out here in the movies Bay Street, and I just got the word decapitated. So, again, 80% is bullshit, but I will always try to relate whatever the word is to what we're talking about. Let's talk about somebody being hit in the head. Now, little word about thermal imaging. It will not see through glass unless it's at the right angle. It looks at glass as an object. What's that?
You give it to the nosy.
It's okay. So, I usually give it to, first off, somebody that's talking too much or ridiculing me. Not that you were ridiculing me.
Oh, I talk a lot. Don't worry. You hit it.
Well,
Yeah, he'd definitely be talking too
if I
much
want a
for us.
heckler all night, then I usually give him that because it usually stops them. I figured he was going to be my heckler of the night. Or I give it to somebody like it might be an electrician or a plumber who might actually be. And I hate to, put that visual judgment on anybody, but it's like, oh, this guy is wearing construction boots. He's whatever. He usually gets it because he works in construction. That this is one of the tools that they use. It's not some made-up paranormal thing. It's an actual thing for plumbers and electricians.
Aviation. Yeah, we use thermal imaging.
Oh, perfect. So he already knows what he's looking at.
Kinda.
Right, you guys ready to go something?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what comes up on the spirit box for this location. Let's go on to the next.
Awesome. X-Files. All the time.
But like, I still want to.
I'm trying to keep this smooth. I have a job.
Yeah, you have 2 jobs here today.
What, keep you safe?
Just be
So,
the husband.
a couple things here. Crew Cafe is actually haunted with some kind of suicide. I can't find any news stories or any records of it because it used to be a slave home. Slave homes did not have addresses, so I don't know if that building is a reconstruct or an expansion. Having a really hard time. I did get some EMF upstairs, so I don't know if I could probably debunk it if I was in there long enough, but it was pretty brief. Hopefully I get to do the full investigation soon. I did get the word industry. So I want everybody to kind of picture the peninsula of Charleston, where you're at now. The water would have been much closer back in Revolutionary times. So everything we have now on the outskirts of Charleston is man-made. So Revolutionary War, ship rolls up, shoots a cannon, lands right at the stop sign, right past Crew Cafe. Nothing haunted, no paranormal activity, just some weird tidbit of history that's exactly where it landed. I'm sure there was no some injuries, but there was no tragedies. So where are we standing now? The Red Barn lot is an interesting place. This is the barn where they keep all the horses for your carriage rides, and it's also the same Red Barn where they had the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So the folks that live down here, they got milk delivered to them. You guys all know how that works. But that kind of dates it for you. So we're talking 1860s to 1920s or so. Probably maybe even a little bit after that. There are horses in there now. We will spook them with very loud spirit boxes. So I'm going to ask you guys to stay away from those windows over there. We're going to obviously listen. I want you to listen, but just stay away from those windows. Where's the other spirit box? You guys obviously can go anywhere because you can control your volume. So I want you guys listening for names and those kind of things. The spirit boxes, let's talk about that for a second, because the stuff you guys see on ghost hunting shows and YouTube videos, I watched one today and I was horrified by what the heck this girl was doing, because I'm actually doing a new podcast episode on Genny House in Gettysburg because I investigated it, and this person's investigation was horrible. So, your questions, ask the same question once every 30 seconds until you get an answer for about 2 minutes. So that's why, about 4, maybe 5 times tops. In the event you don't get the answer, and stay away from yes or no questions. You want questions like, what color is the barn? What's inside the barn? Something you know the answer to. I want you to be listening for something specific in this location. The next location, I'm going to give you some questions where you don't know the answers. So that way I'm not giving you that suggestive thought. But I want you to get used to how to listen to that spirit box. So that part is important. No yes or no questions. They're too easy to say, I got a yes. They say somebody's here. Or they said no, nobody's here. Obviously somebody's here if they said no. So we don't want anything like that because we do have that. But I do want you listening for names. You can ask specific things. If somebody's here, tell me your name. I'll be doing the same thing. Like I'm gonna kind of observe at first and then go to where I see who needs the most help. Grid pens are good in here, but again, what's going on with your EMF? You just had some blips going on. There we go. So sometimes that'll go off here, sometimes it waits till we leave, almost like a, hey wait, I'm still here. This is the place where that little bit of malevolence happened last Sunday. So it was in the top right hand corner. I'm going to ask you guys not to provoke anything. I'm going to go over there for about 2 to 3 minutes and just do a quick session on mine, just out of sheer curiosity. And I do have my stones with me, so hopefully I'm good. But nice slow imaging, so obviously you know that camera technology is not up to our par on cell phones. It's the thermal imaging that's really the highest technology there.
I think this thing turned off.
Yeah, and it will.
Okay.
If you're not using it, it's going to shut off constantly. So again, it's not a super active tool, it's there to debunk. So with you, kind of pal around with the new hubby and get the temperatures on all the different corners and verify what's actually happening. They're not synced, so they're going to be a few degrees off, but kind of get that, hey, this is cold over here, let me see what the temperature is. So if they're relatively close, you're going to be able to tell. You have grids. So literally.
Should I go ahead and shine those? Or?
Yeah, so you literally want to start straight down.
Okay.
And then that one, side by side. What's nice about this guy, keep it on. It actually moves. You want to get as big of a spray out of the dots as you can, and you're just going to walk as slow as possible.
Okay.
So what you're literally looking for is going to be a blip. I mean, it's going to be quick. Ghosts hate this shit. So they're going to be in and out very fast. If I were to blow a plume of smoke in here, you would see it for a few seconds before it dissipated. That's not going to happen. It's literally going to be out of the peripheral vision out of your eye, and you're going to see it flash very quickly. If you hold them up a little bit higher, I know it's kind of like, oh, dude, you're going to have me hold my arms up all night? But there you go. Nice big spray. In the event we have cars cutting through, you cut those off.
Okay.
Very, very simple. We don't want to be distracting anybody. Keep them inside the lot and away from all the windows of the red barn. Be good to go. Hot spots for your green one. For some odd reason, right to that wall, right past the palm tree, I get weird stuff happening on that thing all the time. And I saw that blip myself over in the top right-hand corner the other night, which is where I'm going to head to. The 2 spirit boxes stay separated so you're not crossing the streams. That Ghostbusters joke that nobody got. Don't cross the streams. Really?
Oh, I got it. I'm just trying not to heckle, okay?
You can heckle me. That's why I put it out there. So let's go explore a little bit. I'm going to do my thing. I'm up in the top right corner just to see what's going on. Let's see what that EMF does. You literally need to stop where you are. And as soon as that you get a red on there, that's when you need to stop and really do a quick session on the spirit box. But keep listening. So let's go see what we can find.
And it goes all the way down to the end.
Oh yeah, and you'll see it go crazy. Like if you get anything in there red, just stop where you're at because something's hanging out there.
Did you get this?
No, wait, hold on.
This is pretty fucking cool.
You guys can take your spirit box up. There you go.
Yeah. So basically, if there's like, see how there's a bunch of red, if there's a bunch of blue randomly there, and your temperature would be way off, if that's the case, then So see how the... Are you good?
Mm-hmm. I tried to breathe.
Huh? No, I'm just trying to give you an example. Yeah, and you kind of want to keep in mind, so that's a fan unit that it's pointing at, so clearly that's going to be colder. Now that's mixed in with the trees and stuff like that. That's him off in the distance.
It's a really beautiful night out here.
Mm-hmm. Freaked out. My butt vibrated. I think so. I don't know if I want to go where the malevolent spirit was. I kind of want to check it out. Hmm? Yeah? I'm gonna go this corner. You can help me debunk. Just saying. If we take something home. hold the camera?
No, it's your job.
Oh, that freaked me out. I didn't. That group moving across, I was like, hang on. So much heat signatures. That shouldn't be your way.
Like a wall.
Hang on, what's just to the right of them? Is that the door? Right there? Yeah, that's gotta be the door. Okay. That's kind of cool.
Keep going. Make it stay on green. Enter green too. Green. You gotta step away from it. Thank you. Make it go back up to red for us. All the way to red. Get closer. My name again.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. It says near. I'll take it. See that?
Can you give us a name?
I keep hearing that N sound. So one of the stories I don't tell because it's so recent is the guy who owned the life taxi place. Suicide 2 years ago. His name was Nick. That's why I keep hearing that N sound. And that's something I'm looking further into to verify some of what happened. Nick, if that's you hanging out, give us a word like bike or bicycle or something taxi. move on to the next spot?
Yeah.
Learn some history now. Explain. That was some good stuff going on.
I'm coming.
Obviously, in the paranormal, so you have to be in your field and you have something to study. Obviously, I save all of your data to my website, so every location I go to, hours and hours of data that proves the paranormal.
So we have to sign a DSA now? I've got the power. You're pretty hot. Oh, that was a gem. Ah. What if this takes audio as well?
It's not going to be on parking lots all night long, I promise. So, this
Well.
particular location actually has a lot of history. So let's keep the spirit boxes down and the grids down for now, just so you guys know what you're looking for. I'll kind of give you the gist of what's happening here. So this is the site of the Pinckney Mansion, which would have been in the front. And then Eliza, her garden would have been lined up with that dumpster, and then the slave homes and quarters back here. So who are they and what do they do? Charles and Eliza Pinckney had a son named Charles and a nephew named Charles, and the son and the nephew signed their constitution. So pretty cool stuff. We never talk about this lot. I think I'm the only tour guide in town that does. And Charles was the governor for Charleston. I forget what this is. I don't follow much. It's tough. But I really like to talk about Eliza here because she did something even more important. How I feel about it. So Eliza married Charles so that she didn't have to go back home to England where her dad thought he was dying. He wanted all his kids home, and she didn't want to go. So she got married and became a U.S. citizen. And that's kind of how she stayed here. There's a big age gap between them. And I told you her garden was here, and Dad used to send her plants from England. And one of those plants happened to be indigo. If you happen to be driving around town or you're from here, you know that indigo stuff is all over. We name our streets, our hotels, all kinds of things that are indigo. So what the heck is it? It actually makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. We still use it today. It's good stuff. It started right where you're standing, right in her garden, before they turned it into a cash crop because the rice plantations were going downhill and Charleston needed something else to sell. So we're talking colonial times, revolutionary times, 1760s. We had no business women anywhere. She was the business woman that sold this plant overseas to all of their leaders. And made a huge cash crop for Charleston because for all of them. It started right here in this crazy parking lot. You have to pay $25 a night to park. So, a couple things you guys can ask Eliza as we're going to explore this place. She was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. Ask her what her maiden name is. Because that's what she goes by. Eliza Blank Pinckney. You guys might actually already know all this. You don't know any of it? You guys want history people? You just moved here because it's pretty. That one. You can ask, you already know one of her kids' names, that was Charles. You also know her husband's name was Charles. The interesting thing is I think it was one night last week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I got the word October twice.
EMF.
Yeah, it's going on.
Oh.
Every time I say Eliza's name, it's going to spike a little bit. You're probably going to get chills because it's a little windy.
Yeah.
So, again, I try not to take emotion into this. But the words October, twice, Charles was born in October and died in October. So it made sense why I had it twice. It's kind of give you some of the proof that I look for in here. You can ask what happened to the mansion. You can ask how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she buried, all of those type of things, and get the answers. She's given me all of them in here. Oh, I was talking about the kids. You know one kid name is Charles. I'm not going to tell you the rest, but there's only one daughter out of those 4 kids, so you can try to find out what the daughter's name was with your questions. So again, this is a good spot for lasers, so by all means, let's use those lasers. Put them below the wall, including yours. Again, follow, make sure the validation on the thermal imaging camera is legit. Make sure that stage is square, so I'll have extra opportunities I'd like videos to go. This is definitely a clear off most sections page. Ask those questions several times. Let me answer too much and start just rattling off questions. actually a lot of things since we moved over. Your EMF is probably going to go crazy out in this whole area. And normally, there's a light that's fading. You see where the door's open with the light coming through? Up above that to the left, there's a spotlight. And sometimes it's flickering pretty bad. Tonight it's pretty weak. I notice it's only giving like a light flicker, but a lot of times when it's going crazy, it's in tune with our EMF meter. Usually happens within 2 frames on a video. So I tested it several times, but it's pretty weak tonight, so we really can't go into that. Alright, it's telling me to shut up basically because I just said a whole paragraph. So again, be mindful of cars. You're going to learn a lot about thermodynamics in here because you got 1,000 different types of surfaces with the vehicles and the garbage and the dumps and all that stuff. So nice slow sweeps, and you can ask questions too because the answer might come up on the audio for the camera. You never know.
So the camera does have to.
Oh yeah.
Stop talking dirty to me.
Oh, well, you might want to edit some of this out. It's probably not inappropriate for others.
It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Most people don't watch other people's videos. It's really only going to be us watching it. Even though I post them to YouTube, it's not like they get 1,000 views a week or anything. It's you guys watching it from the website.
I actually work somewhere that they say it's haunted.
Where?
Savage Mill.
Savage Mill in Maryland. It's by the Pullman Bridge, the last Pullman Bridge.
Why does Pullman Bridge sound so different here?
Pullman Bridge.
Okay.
But it was an old cotton mill.
Okay.
And there's still like the rivets from the machines and stuff.
I mean, if you want to send me a link, you can. I'll check it out because if I'm ever up, I mean, eventually this is going to turn into craziness where I'm all over the damn country.
Yeah.
There's only...
We've had people come and do it. A lot, actually. There's a YouTube video of our tour guide Marty. He went with them, and they asked the ghosts
You're sure? Okay.
if they could say anything to him. What would they say? And they would thank you. I didn't get it, but so they said it was video. Yeah. My mom said she can talk. Her grandfather apparently told her with making some money.
Oh. Any particular reason why you're shooting that area, or just because you walk that way?
He just walked that way.
Okay.
Scanning the area.
Well, normally one of my spirit box people will go straight here. This is where the house came down. It was a fire on the 2nd floor, right above this corner.
It's the coldest.
And this is where I normally get the most activity on
Yeah.
my end. Because I usually, if they're not going to do it,
So all this is pretty much blue, but I was just trying to figure out if it's different density and different heights of the...
we have different types of, like there's sand in there too.
Yeah.
So it's going to
That's
be,
all.
yep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see what I can capture because she likes to chat with me. I heard Charles is here. Rewind by 5 seconds. I literally heard that as soon as I turned it on. Okay, Charles, if you're here, tell us what month you were born. Charles, can you tell me what month you were born?
I'm gonna ask her to.
What do you do?
Oh, he said in case of the thing. Eliza, what is your name?
When you see smoke, clouded. Yes, my name is Nick. Rewind by 5 seconds.
81 degrees.
I heard Nick again.
Okay.
Are you calling me or is your name Nick? Let's do this. Is your name Nick?
I would think that a cold spot would be like significantly cold, right?
So like, well, normally what, at least the information I've ever experienced and been around and researched and stuff into this, yes, you would be getting a drastic drop, like, let's say 80s here to like 60s, 50s.
Right.
Super high concentration, and
So yes.
yes. Like, I've seen and been where there's a cold spot of about 40 degrees, where like a portion of my arm was freaking freezing. Just that one portion. It's actually when a spirit that was supposedly my grandfather was talking to me. Felt like a little arm, little hand.
Where were you?
Down in Florida.
You want a ghost tour thing?
No. So it was actually just us in this little building, and a guy could talk to spirits. Only conversations I've ever had with my grandfather were discussed. I was very specific. Like the exact conversation, my first drink of alcohol.
Any weirdness out of you guys? Nothing?
No.
Sucks to be the camera crew, doesn't it?
Eh. Well, it's a good thing we didn't put you in charge of that. Can't hear shit. I told you about that story though.
Yeah, but I don't remember every detail of everything.
I get you. What was that about?
Practicing my turns.
Oh yeah? Some swing dance? Are you gonna show yourself? Can you be visible and not just auditory?
I mean, if we're only gonna hear it on the audio, like on the playback, it's really stupid asking questions when we don't get any feedback at all.
What the heck does a dot mean? There's a random dot on the screen. What's gone now? But it was up right about there. See?
I don't know, it's above the thing, so.
What does a dot?
What's that?
What does a dot on the screen normally mean? Like there was a random yellow dot when I was pointing it up there.
Means it's so. You can also see thermodynamics in reverse, and I've caught that more than once. So what happens with that is if thermodynamics means that temperature can't be created.
Mhm.
It only fluctuates.
Mhm.
So if something is actually getting warmer, so if it's yellow in a red area, yellow is hotter.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of learned that because I had to debunk kind of a picture of a person that we thought we caught, but it was hotter. It was weird. So
Mhm.
it still wasn't any of us. We just don't know if anybody passed by. But anyway, if something is growing in heat, that means there's another cold spot nearby. If you have something like that, I still want the proof of thermodynamics working in reverse. I want the heat growing. If you can watch something grow by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees in a 5-second time span, that just means there's a colder spot somewhere else growing.
Mm-hmm.
So just gonna have to keep that filmed, but keep an eye on what's happening around you in real time.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious because like it literally just looked like a tiny little yellow dot.
Yep.
Okay.
It happens. The spot that I was like, oh shit, check that out. It was literally like we were all standing in a circle and it was in between us, not close to anybody, so it wasn't body heat coming. It was literally just coming out of the ground and came up, I think it was 8 or 9 degrees. I don't know the exact number, it happened a few weeks ago. But it was like, oh my God, we didn't even realize what was going on, and he filmed it the whole time. So I was like, that makes perfect sense. Let's see what they're hearing now. All right, what do you got down there? So you were sounding slow there, so I was like,
Yeah.
they do have it set pretty fast.
You having fun?
It's a very nice night out.
When's Charles' birthday?
That's it burning up a little bit.
I figured because we're young.
Well, this car was recently on.
So my conversation up in that corner, I went straight into it, and I got Charles is here. Again, everything is marked on your audio to verify what I heard. So when I hear things like that, and I kept hearing Nick again, so I started with the.
I heard Nick too.
Is Nick? Is your name Nick? If so, say your name. If you're saying my name, just say the word yes. So that way I know it's yes. I told you guys not to do, but it was the first thing that popped in my head. I did get the name Nick again. So I did get quite a bit while I was up there. I did blow a plume of smoke from my vape, and it said clouded. I've never seen that word before on this particular spirit box. What else did I get that I was like, holy crap? I did get truth because they told me every time I go up there, I get it blew up when I ask what happened to the house. Happens all the time. So it came up very quickly, twice. And then I said, okay, tell me how it blew up. And I couldn't get the word fire out of them. What happened on the second story right in that film. That's why that's where I find I get the most activity. So I go up there quite often. You guys had obviously quite a bit going on with the EMF. I did slow down their spirit boxes. They're having a hard time hearing them, which is normal. It's nothing new. I do start off fast, and if I have to slow it down, it's not a big deal. So they were actually back in the slave quarters, so I kind of gave them some extra questions to ask back there, so maybe something will pop up when I listen to it in the morning. So we are going to walk a good 3 to 4 blocks, I can't remember exactly how many, up to Lodge Alley. So we're going to be on East Bay Street. Your EMF's going to go crazy. Pay no mind to it at all. It's the parking meters and crosswalks. Keep filming. Absolutely no lasers on East Bay Street. That's kind of the rule of thumb there. Sorry, I have crazy rules. And if we're taking pictures, there's more rules with that. That's why I was like, yeah. Upstairs. That's where the fire occurred. Thank you. I'll take it. Alright, so this is actually turning out really well, guys. There's some tours where it's like really slow, and I'm like, man, I really can't wait to see what's happening in the morning, because that's when I see it as a collective. But when I have definitive stuff like this, that's when we're on a roll. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the best times to take this tour. Because Friday and Saturday, it's hustle, bustle, and ghosts don't like it. Just like I was telling them, we've been out for 90 minutes, we're done. Like, we're gonna finish all the locations. So if they take 2 hours, it takes 2 hours. So, looking through spirit boxes along the way, I'm listening for names. And you'll know why once we get there. If you hear anything else, by all means, please look. So, let's take a hike. Upstairs, yes. Who saw that red laser? I saw it. Ghost door? Oh. They might have been closed already. Closed?
What'd you get?
Sorry guys, we waited too long. They probably just closed the 10.
Do you guys need waters?
We did.
Do you guys need waters? We have like a bunch in our trunk.
Oh, it's right there.
Well, they all said they had to use the bathroom. So
Oh.
I think we want to give them water.
I thought people were dehydrated. Yeah, no.
I don't want to see this ice stuff.
We appreciate it.
I always make sure it's tons of water.
Not always.
It's either water or beer. I make sure there's either of those. Staying hydrated somehow.
You know the beer's not.
This is your job. It's not too bad.
Earlier. You okay, Mr. Willpower?
What are you talking about?
You just crossed that street with red.
I know. I'm just staying with the group.
I'm
I also was looking at the screen while not paying attention. Otherwise, I probably would have stopped. I would just be happy there's some things they don't. Only when I believe in the rules a legitimate reason.
Yeah, but you believe a lot of things. There's way more rules than
The crosswalk thing's for safety. So sorry that I worry about safety.
We know there was a bar back there. If anybody drops out, that's where they do it. This is actually Lodge Alley. Not a whole lot of those stores come through here either. Again, another weird, obscure place. This is where the Masons used to meet. So we're talking pre-1790 and after 1900. Because during those times, 1790, 1900 people actually lived here. This was a straight girl. The water's that way, again, so it's much cleaner. So the water smell during low tide, this would not have been a very pleasant place to live. These people down here are actually considered low class. They know that because they've done archaeological digs in between these clay bricks you've been walking on. They found some of their silverware, some of their tools that they have. Here comes security. You can come down and lock your gates. And they kind of consider these folks low class, of the lower class. So, good evening, sir. How are you?
Great.
So, what else was I going to say? Oh, I actually have a full list of all the residents of everybody who's ever lived here. How cool is that? The name Benjamin pops up often when I'm down here, and he actually lived down, and I got the word profile. So I have his occupation. What was that nod for? Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's a tree.
So I have their occupations, I have the dates that they lived here. It doesn't give me their addresses though, because obviously everything has changed. You can't live inside of the building. So there were actually homes down here, pretty small. I found some pictures and drawings of what this used to look like. Which is exactly the same. So these are all original bricks. Obviously it's caved in the center a little bit because of the sewer line. For the most part, it's pretty much the same. Really cool stuff. They have caught weird shadows and some weird anomalies down here. Give it to my wife, and when she has no clue of what to make or how the light moves, it pretty much says that there's some paranormal activity going on there. Now, it doesn't always pop up with the EMF because that noise is at the top. Above that, there's a restaurant emanating the light, electrician, stuff, the kitchen, all that kind of stuff. We will kind of list the first 3 boxes on the way out. I don't know who these gentlemen are at the end, but we will be in the neighborhood when we reach the end of the alley. So we want to get the loud spirit box at a halt once we reach the end, at least until we get to our next location. And nice slow sweeps with the thermal imaging camera. We do get weird stuff out of here. I have caught the air conditioning coming out of that door. It does go to the bottom. It just come out in a straight oval. And at times, there will be an outstretch or a little spirit boxes seem to be fine.
So you don't want Blair Witch jumping around?
Might be. You never know.
Okay. Is that the
Never
same
know
angles
what
we're
we're
going for?
Well, it's not necessarily going to be jumping around. It was literally.
Oh, I was
like,
talking about me. You don't want that?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Oh, that kind of jumping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't want that camera.
Okay. Just check. I mean, great.
If you want to run with it, just to give us that little. Hey, man,
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, I mean,
Oh, you're
No, you're good.
You're trying to get back to work. I normally put it down a little bit further so I don't interrupt their breaks, because they like to come out here for their breaks. But anyway, I didn't see anybody, so I was like, ah, we're cool. But go ahead and give us a good jog down the. Give us that. Alright, let's take a walk. There was something. I don't know where that was. Guys are picture takers for your honeymoon. This is a great spot because St. Philip's is right in the background. It's a big steeple, so if anybody wants to take a picture, now would be the time. Good. All right.
I mean, go for it.
Can we?
Yeah.
Do you mind if we take a picture real quick? We're picture people. We want.
Our parents want us to be more.
I want you to be more.
We take. Okay, hang on. Says the person we gave too many pictures to people now.
I don't think so.
With a flash at night, it might. If you're not going to use a flash, just keep it very still. Wife has taught me a few things about photography. Get it?
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
This is good. See how it's like strobing out? Right? Interesting.
What did he say the white lights were? What did he say?
Mm-mm.
You know about the EMS, or you know about that stuff?
Yeah, well, it doesn't make it. It's an anomaly to me. Oh, I'm not a complete expert. I don't know if I'd wouldn't be working at Best Buy. Or I might. Probably not that much money in it. Oh shit. Hmm?
It's the little thing. duels that happen. Of course, keep in mind, hundreds, if not thousands, of duels happen in this location, but we all only tell one story, but we have the gadgets that can prove or disprove that it's actually legit. So the story is of Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He lived in Rhode Island. His initials were R.I. Keep that in mind, because they're get this spell every time I'm here in a place. Anyway, so he moved down here from Rhode Island. He was supposed to get married to a young lady named Amanda. Her parents just passed away. She inherited a bunch of money. The lawyer handling the money said, no, you're not getting married. I think you're just after for cash. Go start your practice somewhere else. So he moves down to Charleston. Goes to never out of town. Set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start to this day in Charleston. Somebody walks by and Ralph Isaac bring that up because it comes up somewhere along our care boxes all the time. R.I. So we don't know if it's Rhode Island or Ralph Isaac. But anyway, he said, you don't want to stay here. Let me take you somewhere else. So takes him over 59 Street, about a mile and a half. And he rents a room from two young ladies downstairs. He takes the upstairs. So he starts his practice. He's doing very well. He's making lots of money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. So if you look up the Whistling Doctor, this is the story you get, but it's very, very long. I'm giving you the very, very short version. So anyway, the two became friends. However, the doctor moving up in the hierarchy of Charleston and society, they had to sit in different seats whenever they went to go to the theater. So they go see Richard III. You're talking about the play on the way home, because they couldn't do it while they were at the play. They get in an argument about one of the actresses that was in town. The doctor loved her, Ralph did not. He starts insulting his fiance. Wow, I never get interrupted over here. Seriously? So anyway, he starts insulting the dude's fiance back home in Rhode Island. So they obviously go their separate ways. However, Ralph, being a tie to Charleston, has ties with the newspaper. So he puts a big ad. He says that the doctor is a disgrace to Charleston. He's not from here. He takes all of our money. He's too expensive. Blah, 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 blah. So the doctor rebuttals with, let's go down to Dueler's Alley and settle this. One of them's going to die. So they come down here. They take the 20 paces. They turn. The doctor points his gun in the air and shoots. He's willing to forgive. Let bygones be bygones. However, Ralph Isaacs takes 2 shots on the doctor below the knees. He drops to the ground. Normally, loser of a duel dies. Dead. They would go through this gate over here to the right, through the courtyard, and straight into the cemetery at St. Philip's, where you guys were taking the pictures. That didn't happen. And nobody ever talks about that gate and why it's there. That's why it's there. I call it the death gate. But anyway, the doctor drops. His friends pick him up, carry him home. He dies 10 days later. He said, you hear whistles as you walk through the alley. They're very, very faint. I caught them twice. That I could not debunk because everybody in Charleston, at least the people that work down here, know this story. And they like to walk by and hear a big whistle. So we all like, turn. We heard the whistle. But I had 2 that I was not able to debunk. It was on a nice quiet night like this, and it's very, very faint in the background. And he said you can also hear the gunshots. Now don't take this tour on the 4th of July and listen for the audio. It was horrible. I could not make out anything. I didn't even bother. But the other interesting thing about this alley is it's called Philadelphia Alley because we had to name it after, once dueling became illegal and stupid, we named it after a city that saved us from one of our many, many fires. Philadelphia happened to be one of those cities. Which, by the way, is where Eliza Pinckney is buried. It was in Philadelphia. I don't think I told you guys those answers. She died at the age of 70 of breast cancer in Philadelphia while she was on business. And you Googled it, didn't you?
No, I'm from Philly.
Oh, okay. So you already knew this? Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. So we had a tie.
A little bit.
That's pretty cool. You should have mentioned it back there. And it says you're a fan. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
he's a fan.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of Philly history, so yeah.
Okay.
I remember the last name. I didn't remember the first name.
Eliza Pinckney. Yep, that's where she's buried. Breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1793.
What did you say her maiden name was?
Lucas. I don't think I gave you that either. Wow, I really skipped out on you guys. You're supposed to beat me up a little bit.
Did you say the daughter?
The daughter's name is Carina. That's a tough one to come up with, but a lot of times you just come straight out and work shadow. So, the other little bit of history about this is that at the end of this alley, we have sun-dried bricks from slave trade. Bricks up here were replaced and repaired in the 1990s, and they get older as you go along. But the bricks down there still have fingerprints in them. I will point them out, and we have one full handprint towards the very end. Somebody lives right next to it, so we're going to move very quickly. So I'm pointing to the person behind me, and you guys just play the phone call game all the way down. We're not going to link it. But I will point it out. If you wanted a quick picture, get your phone ready. It's at the very, very end. So we're going to be listening for whistles, by all means, listen to your spirit boxes. If we're going, I will try to stay away from those spirit boxes so we can get the audio. This is the place where you're going to turn it up to see if the whistles are there. This is what I do every morning. Or else, like, no lasers at the very end because that's somebody's house. If we're going through another tour, spirit box is down. This, again, this is very popular. I don't hear anybody now, but usually there's 4 or 5 tours in here at a time. That's why we stay out here, so we can just know who we're investigating. So, you guys ready to check this place out? It's absolutely gorgeous. Again, if you want pictures, get those cameras ready. This is my favorite place in Old Charles.
You shocked that I missed something? I'm an idiot, don't worry. Okay.
Really nice. I don't normally get this emptiness. Yeah, the death gate is right up there to your left. The gate wasn't there, but the mounting for it was, like the hole cut out in the bricks. Yeah, get that long. It's gorgeous. So again, this is the original wall over here with the bricks you're walking on. These were all repaired in the 1990s. Sorry, when I talk about history, I gotta specify which century. Don't forget, clean up after your pets.
You okay?
Yeah, back and hips.
All that relaxation, and now a bunch of walking. I got some pretty cool pictures with the night shot. I'm sorry. We need to get up there so they can show us the telephone. Doesn't seem heavy. After a while, it starts getting heavy. Mm-hmm. Little outline. Mm-hmm. Right above my... Mm-hmm.
Good deal. All right, so welcome to the art district, but we're going to talk about cotton. So the building, the brick building, catty corner from us, is actually used to be part of our cotton industry. It's used as condos now, and they're renovating the front of it to be wedding reception venues. So it'll be a giant 3-floor inside and then 1 rooftop that'll be considered waterfront. I don't even want to know what that's going to cost some poor couple to rent that out, because it will all be considered waterfront with like a 5-star restaurant inside. So we'll be careful when we go by, but let me give you the quick gist of what's happening here. So the cotton industry, the last guy who had it as a cotton warehouse, his name is George by the art district. Again, gotta put those clues together. Anyway, so George Poirier was the last guy who had it as a cotton warehouse. He inherited the business from his dad, clueless, had no idea what he was doing. Silver spoon kid, daddy made a lot of money, inherited it, and to George, and George blew right through it. He got himself into a bunch of debt, and then we got the boll weevil in town, which is a bug that eats cotton. So his crop is really up a creek. He's got to get out. So what's he do? Instead of selling it to Americans, he doesn't want the bugs to stay here, he sells it back to the British. So again, Pineapple Park is straight ahead. It wasn't there back in those times. We're talking late 1890s. Would have been much closer. He's sitting in his office in the front of the building, 2nd story. They unload all the cotton from the warehouse, horse and buggy from back here. Goes all out to 1 ship. Somebody gets too close with a pipe, the whole ship goes up in flames. Everybody jumps and dies. George watches the whole thing from the 2nd story. Your online stories will tell you that it was from the 3rd floor. Everything we get on evidence says the 2nd floor. Multiple nights. I've been doing this for a year. Comes up all the time. The number 2, 2nd, those kind of things. So I'm going to go with the 2nd floor still. So he's very depressed already. His dad's gone. He doesn't have any money. He's got a bunch of debt. And now his dad's legacy's gone. So what's he do? He piles up all the furniture, captain's chair on top, hangs himself. There's the newspaper kid the next morning who tried to come down to the corner to sell his papes that he found the dead body swinging in the window. Apparently, according to the legend, a crow got to him first. So it wasn't a very pretty sight for the kid seeing a hanging body there. He said you can see the shadow of a swinging corpse from the 2nd story window. I do get weird temperature changes from the 2nd story window because we can't see through them. So we can only see 1 blue window turn black, which means there's something happening behind it. We also get weird temperatures at the very top of this building. So everybody kind of noticed the peak in the back of the building. The front of the building has the same peak, only there is a stone that decorates it, and then the same type of stone about 5 to 7 feet below that. It's very hard to tell from the ground. At times, when we use our infrared thermometer that you have, we're going to go up to the front and we're going to test both types of stone. They're the same type, but the distance of them. 7 to 12 degrees is probably normal for that distance and the wind coming through, but sometimes it'll go all the way up to 31 to 35 degree difference. That's crazy to me. Like, crazy shit. So, I know, right? So, you're just staring at me like, man, this guy's just nuts. So the other thing that actually happens when we're going through and walking by this building is Zoe from Coogan's porch up the street this way, 2 blocks away from Philadelphia Alley, will come through. How do I know it's Zoe? She comes through with the correct spelling of her name, which is Z-O-E, and it happens often when I'm near the Wagner building. She used to live there. That was her house. It wasn't a restaurant. The place is actually named after a dog. You guys should know that already, Coogan's porch. Coogan was a neighborhood dog that the reconstruction crew fed He was a stray, and he died, so they made a memorial in the front yard, and the new owners decided to name the place after the dog, Woodlands Porch. The dog does haunt the place, will pull on pant legs while you're eating, and Zoe is said to be found in the mirror. Yeah, it's had accept up there since I started talking about the chair at the top. But Zoe likes to come through, and I'll ask her, what does your house look like now? She'll say things like plate, fork, food, spoon, those kind of, like anything relating to a restaurant. So it kind of gives me that clue. I have gotten her sister's name along the way too. Her name was Elizabeth. So you're definitely going to be listening to your spirit boxes. We're going to cross legally twice. So as we're going alongside the building, listen to those spirit boxes. If you guys can kind of, yours is going to be loud, so keep yours close to your ear if you can, so that way you can hear yours specifically. And then we're going to test the temperature changes with both of your types of gadgets to verify what's happening. I'm going to lead, obviously, but you're going to hear the audio of who do I have with me, Zoe or George. And I usually get a very direct answer, so that way you guys will have the audio as well. The lasers, sorry buddy, they're useless up front. Your EMF is going to go crazy when we reach East Bay because of parking meters, like I said. So, everybody kind of on board where we're at? It's a pretty cool story. Way to end the night with a very grim, detailed suicide. So, let's go see what we can capture.
You okay?
Slow sweeping all the windows. Again, look for those blues to turn to black. Shoot your gun for me at the very top.
You want us to go across?
If you want to, you can. It's a slow traffic.
Look at that jaywalking.
Yeah.
Mr. Rule Follower just broke the rules.
Oh my god. I don't know what just happened here. He must be possessed. Where do we go to get that taken care of?
So guys, all of the gadgets that you guys use tonight and all the apps that I use are at the very top of your data page. So that way you guys can check them out for yourself. All of the apps that I use do have free versions. Of course, I had all the paid versions to kind of keep the commercials and all that mess out of there. Good job at not hitting the extra buttons. I don't have to displace this for you. Are you still a square? Are you still a square? Look at you, man. Just made my whole morning a whole lot
He
easier.
works for Geek Squad.
Yeah.
Do you really? My wife works for Best Buy.